Hello everybody, my name is Hockey, and today I'm going to talk about something a little bit different than usual. You see, usually I talk about games and, things I like about certain video games and stuff like that, but today I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal life. You see, in my spare time, I've been learning Japanese, and as part of this learning regiment that I've been taking, I've been watching a lot of Japanese TV, bunch of anime, a bunch of like dramas, and like just random Japanese shows, just whatever I can get my hands on. Because like the point is that like my sort of regiment goes under like the understanding that like most language is basically input. Like you sit around, you listen to a lot of audio, and basically you pick it up as you go along, similar to like how you would as a child. Now, I could talk a little bit about that in another video if you're interested, but basically that's what I've been doing just for a little bit of context. Now, here's the problem with this. So one of the things that I've been trying to do as part of my study is like watch a lot of like Japanese content with Japanese subtitles. Now, I'm going to skip a little ahead a bit because but let me show you this here. So this was a nice little study that was done a little while ago with Spanish foreigners trying to learn English. And essentially what they found was that when they took three types of films. They took a English film with Spanish subtitles. They took a English film with no subtitles, and then they took the same film with English subtitles, and you can see the massive improvement here. Like, basically, if you're using the native subtitles with the audio, especially if you're a beginner, these results like astronomically massive. Like, there's a massive level of improvement. So that's basically what I'm trying to achieve here, because, the evidence supports that if I have, like, Japanese subtitles and I'm watching something Japanese, I'm going to get really good improvement here. This is what I want. I have the whole thing, like, it's open source and you can just like read it. It's freely available. I'll link it in the description so you can see it for yourself and, actually understand what's going on. But yeah, basically this leads back to one of the problems I've been having as of late. So as I've found, it doesn't matter where I am. So I'm in Australia, right? And I'm just trying to find like random streaming websites that will show me like Japanese shows, but will also show me those shows with Japanese subtitles. And no matter how hard I try, Netflix, Crunchyroll, Amazon Prime, anywhere, that's not an option for me. It's basically impossible to do it unless I import DVDs from Japan. And basically, because it's so expensive to do so, I really don't want to do that. I want it as part of my subscription. Let me show you an example. Now, this is a random like anime show I picked. Like I don't watch this show. I know nothing about it. But let me quickly show you something here. So when I go to this show and I have English subtitles turned on here just for an example. Now, what I can do is I can change it to all these settings. I can even turn it off, which is still like a decent improvement as we've seen here. Like it's a better improvement than turning on English subtitles. But really, I want to get the most out of my time that I can. And for some reason, these services just have decided that they don't want to offer that at all. It makes no sense at all. For basically the same amount of effort that they could have taken to put all of these other subtitles in, they have decided to not put Japanese in. And I don't understand why. Like they're literally importing this from Japan, so you'd think that they would be able to just, take the same subtitles that they're licensing from the companies and just put them on there, but apparently not. Now, there's actually another problem that comes up with this sort of content, and I won't be able to show you screenshots of it here. Maybe I will, but basically, I'll give you a rundown here. You see, I also have like a smart TV, and sometimes I like to watch my shows on like the smart TV rather than watching on my computer, because you know what? Sometimes I just like laying in bed and just watching content like that. I don't want to have to, I got a nice big screen. I just want to watch my content that way, either on my Xbox or through my smart TV, whatever. I just want to chill around and listen to it, right? Now, if I'm watching on a device that's not like a computer or a phone or something like that, I actually have to have English subtitles on or some kind of foreign subtitles on. I cannot turn them off. So basically, it ruins the whole point. Like, the only way I'm able to like do something is if I have this on. And this is on Crunchyroll, by the way. On Crunchyroll, I have to have some kind of English subtitles on or like foreign subtitles on that are not Japanese. And that to me is ridiculous. Like, especially since it's already something that they do on their apps, they do here. And like, it should be something that should be available, but they don't do it. And it makes no sense at all. It's really frustrating me because like it's something that they already do and they just don't. Anyway, so now there are a couple of ways around this, and I'm going to discuss this here a little bit because like I know that like people are going to point this out. I'm going to get off this so I don't get DMCA'd as well. But also, here's a couple of things. So first thing, you could say that, hey, why don't you just try using a VPN? And I've tried so many VPN services. Like I've tried PIA, I've tried Nord, I've tried Proton VPN, I've tried Express, I've tried so many different VPN services, and all of them like seem to have like a cutoff point. Like they'll work fine one day, and then eventually they just stop working. Like Netflix figures it out, and Crunchyroll figures it out, and they're just like, oh no, we can't allow this guy to be watching all this content here, because obviously like they don't want to like, you know, they have like certain regulations and stuff like that. They don't want to like have like all this content that you're not supposed to access. So that's basically out of the water. Like I cannot find a way around it. So that's my first problem, right? Now the second option I do have is that if we go back here, I've actually installed a bunch of tools that I can use to add my own subtitles, and which works sometimes. However, there's another problem with this, and again, avoiding DMCA, let's look away. The other problem with this is that, like, because of, like, when I go searching for certain subtitles, they're made for certain videos, like, certain content. So I basically spend a lot of the time, like, trying to, like, align it or, like, time it to the right timing. Because, believe it or not, like, the timing is not exactly the same as the video I showed you before. Like, it usually is a little bit off, and, like, sometimes, like, things start a little bit earlier or a little bit later, and the timing's just a little bit different. Now, you can adjust it, but basically, then I'm spending all of my time that I could be studying just watching a show, basically just like trying to get this timing right for like 5 to 10 minutes. Like it usually gets a little bit disaligned, and then I have to adjust it again and move it back and forth. And it's just such a waste of time for something that should just be a part of the service. Like I don't get it. Like, look, even if they just allow like no subtitles on other like devices, like streaming devices and Xboxes and stuff like that, and PlayStations, like that would be fine. Like that would be like at least a step in the right direction. But like the fact that they just don't allow Japanese subtitles, it's just crazy to me. And what's worse is like, it's kind of like, in a way, it kind of encourages me to pirate, because like, I don't want, like, I want to actually support the people who make this content, but the people who are providing it to me are making it so hard for me to actually like go through this content. Like, to be fair, I'm not actually that much of an anime fan either, but like, the reason I watch it is because it's nice and accessible, and it has like, there's lots of it out there, so I can just pretty much watch whatever I want and like not have to worry about it. Like there's all these great streaming services that fail on the most simple terms. Yeah, look, bottom line is that it's just been really annoying to me. This is something that's been bothering me for like at least a year now. I've yet to find a workaround this. I do know there's a couple of like third party like heading towards like the illegal side of like streaming sites that like allow you to watch that stuff for free, and they do have the Japanese subtitles baked in, but they're so garbage. Like I hate to admit it, man. Like I really want those services to do well, and I want them to like, you know, beat the competition and like actually create a competitive product. But like a lot of the time I'm sitting there trying to get that thing to work. Like oftentimes like the video will just cut out, or like weird shenanigans will happen, and it just isn't worth my time. Like when I could just be sitting here just watching content and just getting better at Japanese, the thing I actually am trying to do. Look, at the end of the day, everybody, I'm just a guy who just wants to study Japanese the way through just watching random Japanese stuff, and I can't do that because basically all these companies are trying to screw me over. If anybody has any contacts at Crunchyroll, Netflix, really any of these streaming services, get them in touch with this video, please, because, man, this is like hella feedback. Like, I will legitimately like unsubscribe from various services and exclusively use your service if you're the first one to pull it off. I'm not even kidding. I don't even care if like the content isn't that much. I will legitimately, I will do this. Crunchyroll, Netflix, Amazon Prime, whoever it is who decides to do this, it's your move, all right? You've got someone who's going to take over the competition, all right? You got your chance. Anyway, everybody, this is enough complaining. Hopefully this message gets out there, and it may resonate with some people who are also trying to do the same thing that I do. But anyway, this has been Hawkey. Take it easy, and God help me, I just want to watch some goddamn Japanese shows with subtitles.